All right, so here is our chair, our footstool that we're going to make, and I'm going to run you through quickly the whole process of drawing this chair. Now, if you have not done any SketchUp, or if you think you're really dusty on it, go to the SketchUp Foundations video because it runs for about an hour and covers most of the tools. And although an hour might seem a long time, it'll probably save you a lot of time if you're trying to follow this really quickly. So this is just a sort of a broad overview of how to attack it. One thing that I haven't done in this drawing or this video is set up showing you how to use layout. Now, layout is available at school, but that is more for dimensioning the drawings and presenting it. I'm most interested at the moment in just doing the actual drawing, and we'll get to how to use layout in time. We are going to go through in this drawing how to do the animations as well, so that you can sort of have the different views and look at what's going on in this video. So what we'll do is maybe just bail out of that altogether, close this drawing, and start with a new drawing. So we'll get rid of our man, don't need him. One of the things in the foundation video is how to set up all your tools and views and templates and so on, so get into that if you think you need to. When we start a drawing, got to think about what we're trying to achieve. In this drawing there are 4 legs, 8 aprons, and the top part of the chair as well. Normally what I would do is create the profile of the timber pieces before we do anything else. So in doing the profile, what I might do is just come in a little bit here and start with a rectangle, because our chair, we know, is 40 millimeters by 40 millimeters. So I can type in, actually I'm going to go back just to help you. I'm going to draw a line. I don't do it here in that origin point. I normally just start somewhere off that. Anywhere there, always on the axis, 40, and press enter. Now it's a tiny little line, so I'm obviously zoomed out too far. I'll zoom in a bit more. And then I'm going to go on the axis there and type in 40 again. And you can see that it snaps automatically there, so I can do that. And click 40 and 40 there. The other way, of course, if I just hit my rectangle tool, I can click anywhere and drag it out and then type in 40, 40. So we'll do that. They're both the same. I'm just going to get rid of that one for you. And then I'm going to use my push-pull tool. Now our chair leg is 420 millimeters, so I'm going to drag it up there and then just sort of maneuver my way around to what I want to do. We might attack it by putting a chamfer on it first. Now there's a chamfer on the outside edge, so let me pretend that's the outside edge there. If I'm going to do a chamfer and I want to do it 2 millimeters in, first of all I'll just hit my T for tape measure tool. And guys, I am not going to show you all this clicking around. I'll talk you through the tools that I go to, but as you can see here, when I hover over, hang on, if I hover over the tape, it says T for tape measure. That's the shortcut. So this is intended to be a quick video. I've clicked anywhere on that edge and I'm going to pull it in. What have I got there? 3 millimeters it says. So I've typed in 3 and I'm going to go here and type in 3 as well. If I put a line in now and click that, I now have a surface to start my P for push-pull. You can see how we've split that off, and I just drag it down. Now I know that this thing is 420. I can go right down the bottom and it says it's snapped to that bottom line. Anywhere along the line's fine. Or the other way I could do it, I would have clicked then by the way, or the other way is just type in 420 and it'll go right down the bottom to 420, and you can see that we've chopped off the end of that chamfer. So that's the first thing we can do. That means, if that's the outside edge, that means, let's get rid of these guidelines. I'm just going to select them, click delete, make some new guidelines. I'm going to start from the bottom because that's how my drawing shows their dimensions. Just going to click there, drag it up. You can see the blue axis is selected. I'm dragging it up 89 because that's the drawing. I'll put this drawing on the Edmodo as well. And then I'm going to keep going 47, and the next distance is 232 because that's what we can see in the drawing. I've gone off the page, so I can just click at my hand tool to get the hand active to zoom around. And I've got another mortise hole that's 47. And now I want to go in from the, what can I do here? I've got a 10mm mortise width in the center. Now if I know that's 40mm from there to there, and 10mm is what I'm after, if I went in 15 from this side and 15 from this side, that means the middle bit, because 15 and 15 is 30 and it's 40 altogether, then the middle bit must be 10. Now all I'm going to do here is quickly hit my R for rectangle, that guy, and just click it. Now you must notice here there's a little X on the intersection. So I want to make sure it's on that intersection. I'm going to zoom down there, hit my, my R for rectangle, click it there, drag it down and click off again. Now, why don't I just use the push-pull? Notice I haven't grouped this yet, guys. That's okay, because I'm still working on one thing. If I was, you know, going to draw something else attached to it, then I would group it before playing around on it too much by attaching other elements. And really, I am skipping over a fair bit of sort of conceptual stuff. You want to watch that 1 hour video to get your head around the issues about grouping or not grouping. So I can click that and just push it in. Now we said that we're going to push our mortise in, I think about 15mm, and I'll do the same here. And I've got to run another one here. I'm just going for the tape measure. I'll click that up. I might as well just do it to there. See, as it snaps to that line, makes life pretty quick and easy. Snaps to that line, go up to there. As long as you see that cross, you're pretty sweet. $15 in from that side. Always being careful to select the right edge. And my rectangle, bang that, and my rectangle here, bang that. Now I'm going to push pull. So I'm going to push pull in. Now how do I know whether I'm going in or out? Sometimes it's awkward, but I could, you know what, I'll just hit O to sort of get my view a bit better. P for push pull, pushing it in, typing in 15. P for push pull, pushing it in, typing T for 15. So there we have. Let's get rid of these guides. I can turn guides off just by viewing, so we don't want to view them. And I might go zoom extents to look at our whole leg. It's a pretty tasty looking leg. If we want to have a look at it from the inside, you can see now what's going on with that view. When we make our chair using the mortising jig, those legs, we'll always go a little bit deeper in the mortise. It doesn't matter, you're better off having more because there's going to be material left behind and so on. So they'll cross over. I've deliberately done it 15 so they don't intersect because it kind of muddles up the drawing and it's a bit more complex to fix that up. So stick to 15 on your drawing, and technically it is correct. We can turn that off. Now, I've finished that leg. You may choose to put more chamfers in it or do something else. If you wanted to, no, I won't get more advanced than that. We'll stick with this. With all parts, you group it. So I'm going to triple click and go right click group. So we're making it into a group. Now if I want to edit something, remember I have to double click to be able to draw a line on that surface. And now I've just drawn a line on it. I'm going to click off, and if I click on that line, you see everything goes blue, so it's a part of that group. I'm going to undo that and get rid of that line and show you something. Okay, the line is now gone and the group's there. If I click, I can still use my inference. It still sort of recognizes there's something there in the group and click on it. But what I've just done is I've drawn a line on top of the group. It's not a part of the group. So I can delete the group, which I've just done by hitting the delete key. It's gone, the line remains. That's important because if let's let's activate our group, go for line, draw a line, just click it there. Alright, you can see now that I've got two lines. If I click my group, that line now is selected because it's part of the group, and press delete, you can see the line goes away as well. So it's just an important part. Need to get rid of that, fix that all up. There we go. It's an important thing to know about as a concept for drawing, because if we wanted to add a mortise or anything attached to this leg or any other part, unless it's grouped, it's going to become a part of it, and that becomes a nightmare in managing your drawing. Nightmare. So that leg's done. Let's just go for the apron leg. Now, to make life difficult, I am deliberately going to draw a line on a non-axis. That is just a little guideline. I could have done the same thing using the T for tape measure, clicking down there and just dragging it, and notice actually how it's gone pink. That means it's parallel to that line. I don't want it parallel, I'm just going to show you. I don't care if it is actually. Oops, it didn't put a point in space, which is odd. Sorry guys, maybe this isn't meant to work. I thought it was. Okay. Because I'm not seeing my guides. There they are. Let's get rid of all our guides for a moment. Delete those. Delete guides gets rid of all your guides. You can always build new ones if you need. So what I wanted to show you is how I can use my tape measure. This will make sense in a sec. I'm just putting it anywhere, bunging it out in space, and there's a little guide point for me. You can do guide points as well as doing guidelines like that. Yeah. Oh, that's because it's a group. You can do solid guides like that, or you can click and do little guide points like that. What I want to do, let's get rid of this confusing line, is start drawing our tenon here. The reason for that is I'm going to show you how we can join two parts of geometry. So we're going to have an apron that's going to slot into here exactly. The shoulder, on the inside shoulder of the tenon, needs to socket right in there. All of these parts are going to be right up against each other. So I want to show you how we do that too. But what I am going to do is make sure that my lines are on this, if you like, that red axis. That will make it easy. If they're not on the same axis, it's going to get pretty curly. So when I say like that, if I started drawing my tenon in that direction, it's going to get way out of hand. So everything gets drawn on the same axis. That's why I go on about that all the time. First of all, we need let's just go for a quick rectangle. And I want my rectangle. Am I going to be able to do that? Yeah. So that's now on the red axis. I'm wondering if I'm going to confuse you guys with this. I can do my rectangle on the red, the green, or the blue axis. Let's just make a profile anywhere in space. Forget about this. We're going to make a rectangle. Our profile is, looking at this, 55 millimeters by 18. So I'm going to put 55, 18 and press enter. Our material is 300 millimeters. So we now have that piece of timber you guys have cut into 8 pieces, or 8 lots of. This time round, just to be different, I'm going to make it into a component. We give our component a name. We're going to call it FootStool apron. A component is just the same as a group, remembering though that a component allows every component to get edited. So if I copied this component, I press the move tool, I press the command key, and it makes a copy, and I'll do a trick, tell you about it later. I've made a bunch of them. If I go into edit any one of them, double clicking, remember, edits either a group or a component, press the push pull, notice how they all get selected, notice how they all go up and down. That won't work if you're fiddling with groups, only works when you're editing components. So that's really the big difference. Let's just get rid of that for now. And we're going to put some tenons on our, sorry, I've ungrouped it. Okay, we're going to put some tenons on this guy. How to do that? It's a group, so we need to edit the group. even by putting, I can put guides on that surface, but they're not a part of that group. So guides, it doesn't really matter unless you want them to be dragged around with it when you're editing or moving things around later. It doesn't really matter whether your guides are attached to the group or the component that you're working on. And for this now, our material is 18 mil. Our tenon's going to be 10 mil. So 18 take away 10 leaves 8, and there's a shoulder on each side, so it can only be 4 millimeters. So I'm just going to type in 4, and I'm going to click on this side and drag it in that direction on that plane and type in 4 again. And I just click there somewhere, type in 4, type in 4, and you're done. And then drag that in. Now what we've got, what I didn't do, I just made a rectangle. That rectangle, if you watch this, if I select all that, it is not a part of the group, see? Because I didn't actually select the group. So I'm just going to undo that and that rectangle. I need to start editing my group before I actually do any line work on it. So I'm just going to click that. Now I can use my push-pull tool and select one of these surfaces. In this case it's this one, and you'll remember how far we've got to go down on this drawing is 15 millimeters. And what I'm going to do now is go over this way. I'm going to show you a different technique that just came to mind. I'll double click it to edit it. There's a tool here called offset, and this actually would work perfectly. So if we just wait there, offset, click on, it should work there. And so I've clicked the surface, I'm dragging it in, and I just type the 4, because you can see down in the bottom right hand window it says distance 4. I'm just going to type 4, press enter, and that's actually done it as well. So you don't even need all those guides. That is a good way to do it. It wouldn't have worked on your mortises, but it does work by creating a perfect equidistant line to the surface that you've just worked on. I'm going to hit P for push and push that guy up 15 as well. Voila. Your apron is done. Now it is on the same plane, so the surfaces are sort of you know, parallel to each other, but it's well out of the way. The first thing I guess we've got to do is rotate it. Actually, the first thing we've got to do, let's lose the guides. I'm going to press edit, delete guides. I've got to rotate this guide because it's a group. I prefer rotating things when they're groups. So what am I going to do? I hit the move tool and just hover over it. You get those little red arrows. Now we want to rotate it on this plane, this surface, not over here, because that'll rotate it that way. That's no good. We could do it that way and then come from the end, but why do it twice when you can do it once? Now look how down in the bottom right of the window, if you can see, the angle at the moment is 141.3. I might type in 90 and press enter. It wasn't 90, so maybe what I should do is type in either minus or 180, it doesn't matter, minus 180, and that's locked it in at that angle. So you can specify your angles. Now the trick is, how do we take, let's just say that little point there at the very outside corner of the tenon, we have to slot that in to this corner here. And guys, this is going to be a challenge for some of you, because you've got to think, what can I do? Well, I'll tell you what I think might be the easiest way to go. Hit your tape measure and create a guide point. So we're going to just click here on this corner, and we're going to pull it out on the red axis, and we're going to make it, let's say, 100 millimeters. It's just a random number. You can do 32, whatever you like. I've done 100, and now if I just rotate a bit, there it is. Now if I click on my apron, click on my move tool to get it going, click on this bit here, right, because this part here we want to go, actually, you know what, I'm going on. No, I'm not. Sorry, I've made an error. What I need to do is, that's the inside corner of our apron there. We need that part there moving to it. So what I'm going to do is click on that and go move and orbit around a little bit, zoom out, and keep pressing move and drag it up until I hover over that part. You see how it's sort of snapping to it? Sometimes you just got to do it in 2 or 3 goes, but I'm going to click to there for the moment and go back and have a little look and see how am I traveling. Now at the moment, it looks like I might have even got it by accident, but I will just change my view a little bit so that I am definitely sure that that point there on the inside, and I'm just going to go back to show you, hopefully it makes sense. When we push that in, imagine it's like a physical piece, that corner is going to touch that corner. So let's go back and do it. I'm going to hit the move tool, click right there in that little endpoint corner, drag it to there. Now it's attached to the end of our guide point. So that is now exactly in line with our leg, and it's exactly 100 millimeters. Now what I can do is just, I can delete that. I could delete it later. I could go edit, delete guides, all that stuff. But I've got rid of it because I know now that all I need to do is move this guy, move our apron. I'm going to click on a point, any point, it doesn't matter. I'm going to click on it, start dragging it, and then I'm going to type 100 because that's how far away it was from the proper spot it needed to be. Press enter and bam, that's job. Whoop, I didn't just press escape to stop it moving. So I just did a manual 100 millimeter move. I'm just going to check something that I'm interested in, and that says 1 millimeter. Might have to just double check what I've done. You guys might pick this up. I think I've made an error because that distance, in fact, should be 3 millimeters from the last drawing. Something's weird, but that's the benefit of drawing. We work out what have I done wrong, what have I missed. If I want to check and see how everything lines up, maybe I can do it this way. Now if I look around, it looks like that shoulder is really flush to that. So we can see, now here's one other thing I can do, is actually select that. I can go for my paint bucket tool, I'll give that a crazy color. Hang on, I'll do that. Now, okay, I need to select everything, and now we've got a better chance of seeing what's going on. So you can see how that really fits in and is sweet as. So I can turn that off. I can also use that view there, but I don't find that super helpful. I could use that view, just the solids, or that view there. That shows for objects and transparencies. That's the view that we really want at the moment. I'm going to just select everything there and turn that to fill. Now I forget how to actually have no fill at all. So for now I'll just go for solid colors, web safe colors, and make it white. That'll do. So now that we've got a leg and an apron, what I could do is we know the distance here is 270. So maybe if I copied this guy and dragged it down this way, it should be 270. I've clicked move. Now I'm going to click, because I've got a Mac, I press Alt. For you guys on the Windows, it's Control. I'm going to type in 270. And that's a fail, it hasn't worked because I think I've gone from the wrong surface. No, that's not right. Oh, look, sometimes the brain doesn't work too well. I'm just going to go about it another way. I'm going to do the same thing sort of by just dragging it out a distance, making sure it's on the red axis, and then I might hover above it and press M. I'm going to rotate it so that you can see there those two tenons will be on the inside. That's at 90. I'll go there. And what I might do is, I'll try a different approach now. I'm going to try clicking here, finding that point. Look at that. It's actually allowing me to get through on the inside because that's the inside of our mortise. So if I click now, and then what I'm going to do is try to line it up to that point. So that is another way of getting around, moving your objects to connect with each other in complicated ways. So you can see what I've done there. It's going to go to there and then just snap, and that is spot on. And then I can click that view again. If you're wondering how to get those views, depends on what you might say tool palettes. You probably have customized toolbar, and then you want to go down and find, there it is, styles. You can click and drag it up to your screen, up to the top. Now, what about I keep doing this, because this technique's actually quite handy. And you can see, although I know how to use SketchUp, it's still always a work in progress. Don't think that there's only one way to do things. I'm going to click from there to the bottom of this one. That's 279. If that's 279 from one equal point to another equal point, the bottom of both mortises, then it stands to reason if I select that, hit the Move tool, click on a point, just to make sure I'm sort of locked in the right way, go into copy mode and make sure I'm on the right axis and type in 279. Bam, it's done. So now I've got myself one half of the equation. How handy is that? How could we do it? You think, oh, I've got to draw it all again and everything? No way. All you need to do is, now that we've got that side of the chair, you might copy everything and just, you could use the maths. I'm not even thinking about that at the moment. I could sort of work out on my original chair what was the distance, like I was doing before, which should actually work. Yeah, let's try that way. So if I go to measure from that, I've got to be careful here. Even though it looks like that corner, actually those two distances will matter. That distance to that distance. 270, it is. I don't know why it didn't work before. So what I will do, select that. I'm going to simply copy it and move it down the green axis by 270, and then I'm going to rotate it. Now, how do I rotate everything? Because when I hit move, I could rotate that and then rotate that. I could do that. Or maybe one way to do it, I told you before, it's easy. I just select all that. It's easy to rotate groups. So I'm going to make it into a group. I've selected just that end. I'm going to press right click, make group. And then when I click my move tool, whoop, as I hover over it, that is now a group. And that makes it really easy to move. You can leave that as a group if you want, or later on, if you want to get rid of it as a group, just explode it. And that goes back to individual parts. These parts are still grouped, but they're individual groups. So you can have groups within groups. Confused? Hope not. Now, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to try something different. If I hit the move tool and copy that, no, it's not going to work. So all I'll do, I'm just going to make two sets of copies. I'll do one set there, actually, and then I might as well just make another set there. And actually, no, I'll do it a different way. I'm going to measure, just keep this little figure in your head, from here to here, because that is an equal distance as 310 between the outside edges, or the inside and the outside, so the overall distance of that mortise. What I'm going to do is rotate them, M. How can I rotate them? I haven't made them into a group. So if I made them into a group quickly, I could do exactly what I did before. I might as well show you another technique. If I click the rotate button, sorry, this one over here, and then just click somewhere, we want it to rotate along the blue axis. You'll get to understand these. I just click anywhere on that surface, click once, click twice, and then start moving it. And of course, we're looking for 90 degrees. Hope that works for you. What about I go back into this mode, and I'm going to move. They're both selected, so I can actually move them both at the same time. They'll follow each other. Remember, I'm going into that far corner of that shoulder on the tenon, just to zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'll zoom out. So I've got it, and I'm going to zoom in and just go in there and click that. And if you want, you can orbit and just suss it out. It looks good. Now that last measurement we did before was 310 millimeters. So what if I just selected that and that, press my move tool and my option to get it started, just click anywhere, and along the red axis I'm going to move it 310. There we go. That's it. Now, we haven't actually finalised our design for the top of the chair. Oh, Ray, hang on a sec. Okay. I didn't get that dimension right on the chair. Let's just have a little look at that. So how am I going to measure this? I'm just going to measure that. That should be, okay, that's 270. And that's 230. I don't know why I got that wrong before. I made a mistake. I've obviously got something wrong in my head about that. That's fine. Because they're not groups, because they are groups, we can easily untangle that. All I need to do, let's just select these guys. Oh, by the way, selecting multiple things, really important to know. If I click and then hold Shift, notice how I get a plus symbol or a minus symbol. So I can shift and click that and click that and click that. So now I've got the 4 parts. I'm going to move them out. But let's say I accidentally click something else I don't want. I just hold Shift again and click it. So you can, whoops, don't click too fast. So you can see I can just unclick it, click it, unclick it. Now, how far was I meant to move that? I know myself. That was 270, and that's only 240, 230. So let's just move it 40. I'm going to click on the edge there, make sure I'm dragging it out on that green, and just type in 40. And proof's in the pudding. That now looks a bit more like it. That's a tidy little mortise joint there. Wouldn't it be nice if we could make such clean mortise joints? This will do for now. What I might do next is have a quick chat about how to make the cushion, and also because we haven't really finalised what we're going to do here, what I might do, I'm going to put a guide in because it's hard to draw off the edge of this chamfer. We might, well, yeah. If I just click, I'll just put it to the centre of that line. That looks like it should be. Sometimes it doesn't play, you've got to fiddle a bit. I want it right there, I saw a green dot, 20. And then I'll have another one there, thank you. I'll go to the centre there, but I want it up on that plane. Okay, what I've been looking to do is just create a guide, because I might then say we're going to put a bit of plywood or something like that here and push that up, and that can be sort of maybe 6mm ply, and we might put our cushion there. Now, just by the way, to sort of reinforce that whole concept of groups, these legs and the apron are their own group. So they weren't selected like that one is, or that one. They weren't selected when I drew this piece of ply on top. So now I can just, as long as I remember to do this as I go, I can triple click my ply, and I'm going to use a shortcut, Command G, which is the same as make group, and that's now a group as well. So if I want to get it out of the way, I can do that, or muck around with it. So just really, really, really important to use groups. Yeah, that'll do for now. And one of the next ones we'll talk about is how to put a timber finish on your timber, and how to make the cushion, which is a little more complicated, but not too hard. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope that helps.